Welcome back to Roosters Radio and Roosters fans. We've got a real treat for you right now. Our next guest, well, he's a qualified carpenter by trade, studying finance and mortgage broking. He's also an ambassador for Mates in Construction. We'll talk a little bit about that later. And he's our current Jack Gibson medal winner. He had an absolute cracking season back in 2023. To talk about all that and more, it's our big man, Lindsay Collins. Lindsay, welcome to Roosters Radio for the first time in 2024.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for putting all your teeth in. You're actually quite a good-looking man with all those limbs.
Oh, I'll take it.
Lindsay, there's been a lot written. Lindsay, there's been a fair bit written lately about changing the rules to the kickoff. And as one of the players who returns the kickoff in our club, I'm going to close my eyes and I want you to kind of describe what goes on. So when you run onto the field, you'll pick left or right side. And then you'll see the opposition player about to kick the ball off and the ball's in the air. Take it away.
Yeah. Well, you run out of the tunnel and the adrenaline's pretty well pumping, crowd's roaring, and yeah, you run to your side. Mine's usually the right-hand side when I'm on the field with Jazza. So I've got Kiri usually catching with me. The last couple of weeks have been Tupou. But yeah, usually Kiri's catching there for me. And sort of just see which side they set the ball up, and if it's coming to your side, it's a challenge. It's a set the tone for the game. It's a come on then, and you know you're going to get smashed. It's a free hit, so but it's I guess how smashed you get. So
When the ball's in the air and you know it's going to land in Kiri's arms, what are you processing? Are you picking out a defender to line up against so maybe you don't get as smashed, or are you looking at running through them? Like what's actually going through your mind?
Sometimes you got time to have a look at where you're going to run. Other times you don't. Usually it's I try and aim for another front rower sort of thing. So that's probably there. And most of the time Kiri catches it. We actually have a funny story. Like Kiri just always sometimes he always looks uncomfortable under the ball, especially when you got boys who are like Kyle Felt back in the day, you know, Birdo, putting up those big spirals sort of things. So off the kickoff, it was my first start for Roosters against Storm, and yeah, they were kicking off my side, and you know, that's the badge of honour you wear as a front rower. Start the game, kicking off tier, let's go. And, goes up in the air and Kiri's under it. He's looking a bit frazzled and he drops it right on the line, backwards, then he gets it. And I think he played the ball 1 metre out and they've only got a 10 metre run up now. And I knew I was taking the next carry, and it was just, I think it was Nelson and Jesse Bromwich, and just got absolutely fed. So, but that's a funny one we have.
Do you enjoy that part of the game, that kick return?
Yeah, it was funny. I was talking to my wife about this the other day, because she made the same comment. And, you can sort of see what the NRL are trying to do. They're trying to look after us as players, but my missus can see how much I love it, sort of thing. That's what she said. I know you love it. I know you like getting hit. But it's a sort of gets you into the game. You know what I mean? Sort of wakes you up. All right, we're on here, sort of thing. And sort of what I said before, it sets the tone for the game. You know, you got all your mates there, ready to go into battle with you, and you take that kick-off carry, and you know if you're going in half-ass, they're gonna. But if you're going in having a crack, they're going to go have a crack with you. So, yeah.
And what about if it goes the other side? What does it do to you as a player? Jared gets the ball, big run up, you get to the 20-metre line. Are you just looking to have that next hit up? What does it do for you as a forward?
Yeah, when I see someone else, you know, take the kick-off carry and have a crack, it's just like, well, you know, they're putting their body on the line. You got to put your body on the line. So that's really it.
Let's flip in the coin. Defensively, it's now our kickoff, and we're defending. Is it the same ferociousness? I mean, is it just everything in reverse except you ain't got the ball?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's that. You know, they're gonna come at you, and it also depends on the kick as well. The kick's pretty important. How far you get it into the corner. But then, because you want front row and front rower, a dominant tackle. So when you sort of see it, it's a kick sprint. It's not a run sort of thing. So you get down there and same thing. Set a standard for the game.
Yeah, I mean, you do set a standard. And speaking of setting a standard, and Silky mentioned before the contact, we had the pleasure of growing up with the likes of Fletch, Brett Gillard, Luke Ricketson, Ryan Cross. When they finished, they all said, the only thing I miss is getting hit. As fans, we love watching it. As men and fathers, we go, oh, what about the hit on
Wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Well, we'd say, we're in the stands watching you, like, could you imagine winger in and you've smashed someone, or Jared smashed and just go, mate, imagine having to take the ball. And it's great, right? It's the theatre of the game. What is it about being hit that you love?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is the contact?
Yeah, I can't put a finger to it. Like there's one memory that sticks out to me. It was when I did my ACL, and I'd had
Newcastle.
A little while ago, but I had that big long time off away from the game sort of thing, and then it was COVID. The team was up in Sunny Coast. I was still in Brisbane, and I literally all I wanted to was get hit. Like it was so weird. I can't explain it. It's a bit sadistic. It's a bit crazy, but asked my wife. I was walking around. We were living in a small apartment in Randwick at the time, and asked my wife. I was walking around, putting my shoulders into the wall, sort of thing, just to sort of get something. It's so silly. It's so stupid. It's probably And
the assumption is that every person that plays NRL at that standard, I think they would share that same enjoyment of contact, right? It's men on men. It's a gladiatorial sport, and therefore you all share a version of that. Some harder than others. We all know that the alpha male yourself, Jared yourself, love big contact, but that would be across the board, right?
Yeah.
Even little guys like you see, like Luke Keary, he cops a beating, Luke. Like for a guy his size, he's got.
Well, when they take the line on, they're running at you, the big players, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's no weight class.
No. So, mate, when you hear stories written in the media that the NRL are kind of, potentially looking at changing the rules around kickoffs, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it sort of takes away from the spectacle a bit. Like, I can completely understand where they're going. Yeah. But, like, what we were talking about before off camera, those finals footy, state of origins, it's sort of...
the first hit up it sets the tone.
Yeah. And as a fan as well, watching, like, as a front row myself, like, I watch most games and I just look at the first carry sort of thing, and that's all you want to see.
Do you think you can judge a game or a half or a period, as Friendy taught Silky and I last week, off that first carry?
Well, like, there's also, like, periods in the game where, say momentum swung and you're chasing points. Then that, like, say you've scored a try, you're coming back, that next kickoff carry is just as important. I think we saw it.
We played the Bulldogs, right? We played the Bulldogs.
Yeah, Jazza. Yeah. That's the one that I was thinking of, just recently. Like, there was,
we just started running straight and hard.
Yeah,
right?
and Jazza poked his nose through and found his front and played the ball, So those sort of hit-ups you expect, 3 or 4 guys to get in and get you on your back. But, when, those sort of things, like, as a front rower, all right, I need to do something here.
And I'll tell you, as a fan, Silky and I sit up, we don't miss a game. Home games, especially, we're up, doing the hosting. But what I love is the fans around us, the sponsors, whoever it is, the Mad Roosters, they all call you guys by your first name. It's almost like we're carrying with you. We'd never do it, but that's what's so impressive. And they go, come on, here come, look at Lindsay wind up, or you hear, oh, mate, look at Jared, they're in position, you know what I mean, or Victor. It's really exciting for fans to see. So, I think you're right. The NRL's trying to take it they're coming from a place of love and protecting the player, and you've got to give them 5 stars.
It changes the fabric of the game.
It does, and the balance has got to get right. But, you've got to protect the future. I mean, you'll be a massive success after football, and if you choose to be a builder, you could end up being Jesus, a carpenter who sells finance.
Jesus.
Modern day, Jesus, But the Spanish version would mean to Barcelona. But seriously, you've got to protect the head, because you need to obviously use that great brain you got on your shoulders afterwards. But it does change the fabric. It segues into this short kickoff. I'm dying to know. It's new in the game, in a sense, in the last couple of seasons. As fans, we sit there and same thing, short kickoff. I would have thought a dropout gives that same impact, where there's an opportunity for a big hit or a big run. but these short dropouts, and there seems to be many of them these days. Can you talk us a little bit through what the strategy is there and what we're trying to do? Is it just a 50-50 play? It seems to be a red or black.
Yeah, well, the short dropout we practice a lot, sort of thing, and then Robbo's got this mindset where it's not their ball yet. Like, say, a set restart, Kez has got the ball in his hands there, so it's our ball sort of thing, so it's not theirs yet. So, Robbo's got that whole mindset of Kez is kicking to Toops or Dom or, Suwali sort of thing. So, just changing that mindset, I guess, and it's not...
Is that over real field position? Because the traditionalists would have said, mate, kick to the corners, put some pressure on, get some field position, keep them down their end, keep them away from our end. Is that? But when you've just said that, I suppose that makes perfect sense for the fan. We've got a chance here of getting the ball back.
Yeah, well, I think we broke it down one year, and if you're looking at the long kick, you probably get them back to the 30 or the 20, sometimes the 10 by play too. So it's not really that much different, I guess. You give the short kickoff, you give yourself an opportunity to get the ball back. The long kickoff, you don't. But they still get sort of the same field position, I guess. The other thing with the short kickoff is it's in the corner. So different teams will have different spots where they like to play their shifts from, at the post or just outside the post. So they've got to use one or two plays to get there. So they chew up those plays. And then depending on your defensive mindset as well, they might take 3 plays to get there sort of thing. So... yeah.
Real masterclass here by you.
Nah, it's not me.
That's great.
That's just me getting it from Robbo.
We requested Lindsay because this is the Thinking Fans podcast, right? That's your average footy podcast. Mate.
Just away from footy, Lindsay, I know you've been busy, in the off-season. Couple of important things. You're going to be a dad in the not-too-distant future. Another one of the team. I don't know what Robbo put in the water at the end of last season, but... there's a real large contingent of you boys, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know that you're now an ambassador for Mates in Construction. I saw you doing a bit of work for them. They're a pretty important role. I know suicide is very high in the construction industry, mate. How do you find yourself being part of that?
Yeah, well, it's number one. Yeah. It's number one industry for suicide. I just got put in touch with Brad Parker, the guy who runs Mates in Construction, through a mutual friend, and just was a bit of an opportunity there to they were looking for an ambassador. I just got qualified as a chippy, and we've got a bit of spare time, so if you can sort of use that spare time wisely, then why not? So met with Brad and had a coffee with him, and he sort of explained to me what they were trying to do. And basically, Mates in Construction goes around to different construction sites all over New South Wales, and they've got an accredited program that they sort of teach to different people in the construction industry on sites to sort of spot people feeling a bit down, or to put someone, they call it a connector, to put someone in touch with someone who can help these people as well. So they've got 3 field officers at the moment, and who go around and take calls, and they've just been given another 2 through funding. It's a non-for-profit charity, so they need funding from New South Wales government, and I think they've just got in another 2. So it's pretty cool. Had a couple of little things with them and gone out onto sites, and to sort of have a role in that. And I work in a great team every day, and to sort of be in a different team now, it's really cool to see how they operate, and the effort that they put in. It's sort of just as much as what I'm doing.
The construction itch. So when you go out to a site, do you have a penchant to pick up the hammer, or are you just kind of one of these guys that might points and says, that probably can... Like, for example, I know Victor Radley did a heap of work on his joint not too long ago. Are you a hands-on chippy, or are you more of a supervisor?
Yeah, I'll
site
stick
manager.
with supervisor, site manager. So it's not too often I get on the tools. But
you need them, right? I could see you and Victor in a great little business there post-football career, because he loves hammering nails and breaking shit, and you could just tell him what to do.
Nah, he wouldn't like me telling him what to do. So
Do you see yourself, Lindsay, at the end of your career building a house? For the Roosters fans that will remember this, you made a bold prediction about the town of Ipswich, where I believe you bought up half the town, they tell us.
Collins Town, I think it's going to be called in the next not too distant future.
Yeah, that's the shopping centre anyway. But, you talk about, finishing your career and stuff, a long way away from it. But do you see yourself picking up the tools and going down that path of construction?
Not really. Sort of has led me into a different sort of avenue. Like, I still love that construction industry. I still love property. But I can't see myself being 40 years old with a belt on, sort of thing. So,
ask any 40-year-old tradesman.
yeah. I think the knees and the shoulders and the feet will probably have it by then. So, just that's why I've sort of gone into broking and finance and sort of done a bit of a class on that and see if I enjoy it. And it's something that's it's been pretty cool.
Word around the joint is that you love it, but if you had to pick, who's the shrewdest operator when it comes to identifying, the next boom town or property, or like there's a few of you
crypto stocks, land deals.
Kez is pretty cluey.
Of course.
Yeah.
Little crafty five. That's what we sponsor.
He's doing his masters, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's always good to bounce something off, or he'll often ask, any of the boys, or what's going on, sort of thing. So he's pretty open to hearing everything. So.
Lindsay, as a footballer, you must have a lot of people come at you. I mean, we've witnessed it with our own friends that have had the pleasure of playing NRL. So many different ideas, you know what I mean? Mate, you've got to get into this and crypto stocks and land and everything else. Does that happen to you quite a bit?
Nah, not too often. So I think Butcher's the same. It's bricks and mortar sort of thing. That's his philosophy, and I don't mind it either. So it's been around for centuries, and it's probably not going anywhere soon. So
Word on the strip is JWH is quite the developer and project manager himself, and gets in and rips in.
Yeah, well, we had our review from Zoom call the other day, and he was there painting the fence. So. So yeah, he's always hands on or jazz.
Miyagi style, like painting.
Yeah. I'm not too sure. You'll have to ask him.
Now, Linz, last year you had an unbelievable season, and a lot was said about how you changed your diet, nutrition. Now, I know Minnie's always been a big fan because it seems like you take a lot of what Minnie has to say. Like, you're one of the people that listen to him and to the letter and change your diet and go, with what seems to be the thing at the time, but. Last year it was avocados. Have you changed anything up this year? Is there anything new in the Lindsay Collins diet that we all need to get hold of? Because let me tell you something, he mightn't look like an athlete, but loves a fad. So Bush will put butter in his coffee with a croissant. He'll change it up.
Big on a spoonful of honey in the piccolo, Linz.
Yeah. So mate, what's new in the Lindsay Collins diet for 2024?
There's not a lot really. Probably actually a lot of honey.
Yeah?
Been having a fair bit of honey. It's a little carb.
Is it the Manuka? Is it the special one?
Well, it's a high antioxidant, Silky. It's also the carb. With a body like Lindsay, which is a temple, it's better than having dark chocolate, depending on the percentage and where it's from.
There you go.
But yeah, my man will tell you.
He's all over it. So I don't even need to say anything.
So it's honey for 2024?
Yeah, honey's pretty. It's just a little energy boost. You don't want to have coffee too late in the afternoon or too much caffeine. So honey gives you that good carb hit and a bit of an energy spike as well with the sugar, the natural sugar that comes with it as well. But yeah, the raw organic honey, that's the go.
Sorry, but how are you consuming it? Is it just by the spoonful, or like is it just with the coffee? Are you putting it on toast? Well, these are important questions, mate, because our fans will be going out to Coles tomorrow and loading up on honey.
I think it's a great question. For me, being a former athlete, spoonful of honey, but for Lindsay, I don't know, you might have it on sourdough. You can afford to.
No, it's usually just the bottle, squeeze it in the mouth, sort of thing. So I'll
honey, mate.
Put it in water.
This is an epic episode. Brett Gillard, the reserve grade, coach from last year with Barnesy, is into me about having honey in the morning. He still thinks he's played 100 games, first grade, played at the Roosters. He goes, you don't need honey in your coffee. Now that Lindsay Collins, he's a massive Lindsay man. Right, so now I've just been exonerated. Right.
I'm not quite honey in the coffee yet, but I know a few boys do. So,
Linz, on that though, as a young athlete coming through, you joined the Roosters quite early. You played, schoolboys, and you played Origin, played for Australia. You've seen a huge change in how professional athletes prepare. how important was that switch in your diet for someone like Minnie, who's a co-host on Roosters Radio and is always talking to Silky and I what he's done. What he's done is amazing, but he's bringing in a whole new level. Have you seen a difference in yourself significantly in your performance, perhaps your moods from that change in diet?
Yeah, so I've always sort of dabbled with it. Fitz was a big influence as well. Fitz talks about it a lot. Like
Western Price, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. Your Western A Price, Westernised flour, all that sort of stuff, sugar. But yeah. So he sort of talked about how he was done, and then he, changed things up and got an extra 4 or 5 years out of his career, sort of thing. So I think it's like the big mindset for me was, it's going to help me perform and it's going to help me, be the best version of myself. But then it's also like longevity as well. We're just talking about kickoff carries, bashing our body for a living. Like I want to be 50, 60, still moving around all right. And if I can do things that it's going to help that, so why not?
I'll give you a little insight. You a similar build to Fitzy when he played. We were very good friends of Fitzy, Silky and I through, our enjoyment of his, his time here at the Roosters. And I remember him saying the change for him was he got rid of the 4 white devils, and I thought it was flour, sugar, white bread, and and it turned out the 4th one was Silky. So my bad influence of getting blokes and nights out.
Yeah. Now, mate, listen, last one for us, and it's an important one because as it stands, you're at the peak of your powers in your football career. Leadership. Now, you're an important part of the leadership group, but also we have one of our greatest leaders of all time, I think it's fair to say, in Jared, kind of leaving at the end of the season. I'm curious to get your thoughts on, how your role as a leader has probably changed this year from maybe the last
progressed.
Or progressed, and just, what's leadership to you?
Yeah, well, Jazz is a big part of that sort of thing. It was, it caught me by surprise a bit when, he told me that he was retiring and wasn't going to be here next year, and I sort of was a little bit lost. I didn't know what I was going to do. So we go out to field together, we come back from field together, we do our extras together, and he's someone that I talk to a lot and get to bounce things off and get his honest opinion, because I know he's not going to bullshit me either. So he sort of hasn't really how do I explain this?
Handed it over, as it were?
No, it's like he doesn't have to tell me or do it. He more by his actions.
Shows by his actions.
Yeah. So by just having those yarns with him, I'll get more out of that, and how I can then do that to someone younger as well. He's not even realising he's being a leader, but to me he is.
So can I ask you this from a fan's perspective to continue Cooper's question? From where we sit in the stands, mate, we love our Roosters, but it seems that there's a passing of the baton. Jared, it's organic. Your game, we're kind of looking, Lindsay's the chosen one, or you've chosen yourself. It's organic, right? The team's chosen you. Jared, whatever it is, we realise that, we understand we're losing one of our all-time greatest leaders to retirement, which is, that's a great thing for him. He can do no more. But in doing that, as he's going out, here comes Lindsay, and it seems like that from a fan's perspective. Do you feel that same? I'm not going to use the word. I'm going to use the word honour, not
transition. It's a transition.
Yeah. Do you feel that? Because it looks like that from us watching the game.
Well, yeah, it's big shoes to fill. The responsibility that he has, and But then that's what I said before. Like he leads by his actions. There's one thing that I got him from Jared is just like, you can talk as much shit as you want, and it's like, but if you don't do it, then who's going to follow you, sort of thing. So he's a man that leads by his actions, and everyone follows him. He's the first guy you're picking to go to war with, sort of thing. So yeah.
Now, mate, we've got to talk a little bit of footy. We've got a big game Thursday night against the Storm. Historically, these are always tight. One point aside, right? They're on a bit of a roll. It's fair to say. I think they're undefeated. So what do we need to do Thursday night to knock them off?
Our best preview was a review from the game on the weekend, I think. It's sort of got that old style of Roosters back again, and just powering through the middle. Our outside backs were just on. They were just possessed. They wanted to find their front, wanted to play the ball, and then it's easy for us forwards. It makes it easier for us forwards to get on the back of that, and they're creating quick play the balls and 9-man lines for us, and we can sort of pick where we want to run, and then once we get that, outside backs into forwards, then your Luke Kearys and Sam Walkers and James Tedesco can do their thing on the end of that. So like you guys said before, it's always a tight one, so got to go prepared to go dark and go the full 90 minutes sort of thing. And yeah,
can't wait for that kickoff.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I just want to take you lastly back 2 weeks ago. I think it started then. I think something possessed us in that second half. We didn't win against the Bulldogs. We didn't need to. We won outside the scoreline. I think as a team, it felt like that from a fan. We talked about. We were still really proud of our team. It's just nothing better than, like, last week was great. Someone said to me, "How good's when your team win?" Friday sat to him, "It's great." And we go, "Yep, it is good." You start the weekend, but it did it start in the second half of the Bulldogs? That mentality, that old Rooster feel.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that Robbo said to us after the game as well. Like, couldn't be prouder, and he'd been searching for that for a while. So it's such a simple game, and sometimes we overcomplicate it, but really hasn't changed for the last 100 years. So it's just tough men being tough, and that's what we need to do.
Well, mate, I think that's a perfect way to end this little interview here, mate. We've really, really appreciated your time here today.
Always do.
Best of luck
Bells
on
was
Thursday.
furious.
Yeah,
He's a big Lindsay fan.
and mate, if we don't talk to you before the baby's due in around June, is that right?
Yeah.
Wish you all the very best there, and maybe a third generation of kangaroo maybe on the horizon, mate.
Yes.
So
Yeah, we'll
best of
see.
luck.
Thanks, boys. Cheers. Thanks
Appreciate
for having
it,
me.
Good on you, mate.